All right. Welcome to Pop Talk. This is episode 1. We are bringing it to you live in there. I'm going to be the moderator tonight. They know me as Professor Nims. We got Bosston Jarod on there. Just say a little hello so your name is, so you come up big. That's what I said. He's there.
What's
Bosston
going on,
Dave.
everybody? Good evening. Good evening. How's everybody doing?
We got Coach Dave.
What's up? What's up, Coach Dave? But before we get started, let me take a quick moment just to say Happy Founders Day to all my brothers of Omega Psi Phi.
No doubt. And the Casual Ran.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Ran, Casual Ran.
Casual Ran.
Yes, sir. And together we make up the Pundits of Pugilism. And then we're going to get into it tonight. Before, we normally don't kind of do this. I don't do RIPs or whatnot, but I do want to recognize we lost young, talented brother, music artist, Young Dolph, in another senseless act or whatnot. So, and yeah, really, crazy and stuff. And then I also want to do something that I normally don't do, but I'm a man about mine. This is actually, it was funny that Dave kind of like came into it. Dave wasn't here last week. And I did something that I normally don't do. And I'm really against it. And we all come from a military like background, right? So we have rank, and we have a thing called pulling rank. And then arguing, sometimes what you do is, so usually why pulling rank is not good is because like when you don't have a good argument, right, you just kind of go to this like, oh, this is what I know, but sometimes you just get frustrated and you do that. And I did that last week. But I was like, I said that y'all sound like y'all didn't be in a ring or some dumb shit like that. It was a dumb statement. And so I will offer the apologies to my two pundits out there. But I get emotional sometimes, man. Y'all be playing with my emotion. And I think, it was like y'all ganged up on me last weekend. It was the two light skins, and it was like, and I was like, where is that? But I offer that up, so we can start with a clean slate before we get into this week's agenda or whatnot. So there's a lot to kind of talk about. It's going to be a busy fight week, but I do want to give some attention to some really, really good fights, particularly Munguia versus Rosado, which was really for them, it was kind of par for the course in a sense, but having them come together, caused quite a clash. And for me, I think we kind of got the results that we thought that we were going to see. I don't know how much that we necessarily learned from that fight, but for its entertainment value, it's got to be for me at least, A-, in there. So, what are your thoughts on that fight right there? Let's throw it to Bosston Jarod on there.
Yeah, I've only watched the fight one time. Rosado is a guy who, despite his record, he's been in there with everybody, and I think he's a lot better of a fighter than his record indicates. To me, he's a C+ B- level guy. He's been robbed a few times. He's been robbed. He was trying to catch Munguia with that same punch he hit that bully with and stopped him with that one straight right hand.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a pull. It's like, what I'm saying, you kind of like catch him.
And Munguia saw it, and Munguia is no Pernell Whitaker, right? But he saw that thing coming a few times. And Munguia has improved, at least physically. He was a guy who I saw gas out in past fights, but he came with a lot of volume and a lot of pressure. And
he was in great condition because he took some shots and
he did
and
take
then,
some
and
shots.
then really maybe only a couple of times did he really take a backward step in there. And
during the fight, I actually thought that's how it was going to go. Like 56 rounds, I was like, he's going to gas out. He's going to gas out and get caught a few times. But But
Who,
his strong
Rosado
fight-
or Munguia?
Munguia.
Oh, you
I
thought
thought
Munguia
Munguia was
was
going
gonna
to gas out and start getting touched, but as soon as he get hit, he'll throw another combo to get those.
He did, and that to me that speaks to his conditioning, right? That guy was just always ready to fire back, and right, every time you throw a combo, that's a short sprint, right? So every time he's doing there, so Coach Dave, what do you? I mean, do you think we learned anything from this fight? And then, like, what do you think that each fighter kind of goes from here?
Yeah, so I thought it was a great fight. So, and I kind of went through it twice. I thought it was a great fight. I tell you, the first thing that came to mind had Thado been able to give it a little bit more, or caught my man a little bit more. I'm telling you the truth, man. It honestly reminded me of Aaron Pryor and doggone.
Oh
Alexis.
yeah, Alex Aguilera. Yeah, Alexis Aguilera. Yeah, I could see that. I could. Aaron Pryor might have been a little bit more. He was so skilled to me. Really not right.
Yeah.
Pryor
So,
Arguello.
You didn't think so? What's that?
Not Pryor Arguello.
No, but here's what I said though. Here's what I said. I said if my man could have caught McGee with a little bit more punches and a little bit more accuracy, them boys was getting a lot of shots, man. They were getting. I'm just saying that's what it flashed me back to. It was the most exciting fight because this guy, every time these jokers would get hit, they would come back up. I totally agree with Randy. I thought my man was gonna gas out, and then even in that prior Aguero fight, them jokers was getting caught, man, head snapping, but they still kept coming back on it. So I think what I learned though is I'm gonna still say this. So now, coaches had on, trainer had on. I think my man, McGill, I love the business of the punch, but you can't. Sometimes, when you get a skilled fighter that can get out the way, because the whole key to counter punches, you throwing 5 punches and you keeping your head on that line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm training my fighter, man. If you feel something touch you up top, roll and send something. Because if you throwing 5, you in your mind to throw 5 punches straight up top, I catch 2. And if I'm rolling and I'm catching something, I'm going to be able to get between those punches. So I like to see McGill go up against somebody that understands counter punching and got a lot more head movement, that just ain't going to stand there and catch those punches. And I think that's where he might have some problems down the line. That gas was good, that heart was good, but you can't just throw 5 punches, back the guy up, step to him with a jab, then throw 5 more punches and keep your head on the line. Not when the competition truly steps up. So that's
exactly. I think those are once that competition steps up, and then I think a lot of his damage that he's taking. I mean, he's young, but it might start to show up then out there. But
he been Demetrius's mandatory for like 5 years now. He's been the mandatory for that WBO belt, and I believe he's in position to fight Charlo also. He's ranked. He's one of those guys that's ranked. A Mexican guy. He's got all the money. He's got a bunch of.
And to me, that's kind of like the next step is like to fight and I'm not trying to. I do want to bring race into, but not to be racist, but like you need to fight a skilled Black fighter that's an elite fighter. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that moves, has good like upper body movement, like what I'm saying? Like
he's already talking
when I say that, right? So there's a Jacobs, there's a Charlo, there's an Andrade.
They're not going that way.
One of those. I know. I'm not saying they do, but right? Isn't that the logical next step for somebody like him?
They don't think so. His management don't think so because he brought up, like I said, Derevianchenko, and he brought up somebody else at the end of the fight.
So what Tamir says is like, I'm not, because if you're bringing up Derevianchenko, he's a level below them. So that means that he's saying, and I think Boston J just froze. But Randy, so let's talk about Rosado. Like let's in the close in, like what are his options? Like, where should he? I mean, because he's always in the excitement. To me,
he's excited.
Bankable.
I'm gonna flip it up and say, when was the last time Freddie Roach had a winning fighter? You know what I'm saying?
He just had one. He had the Filipino champion, right? Wasn't he Freddie Roach fighter.
But I think he's struggling. Freddie Roach's whole camp struggling right now.
There talks about. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
There talks about Rosado and I think Berlanga maybe next. All Puerto Rican on Puerto Rican Day Parade in New York City, something like that. So maybe that's a cash out fight for Rosado. I just don't, with 14 losses, and I just
he is a gatekeeper.
Yeah, I think he might be the guy that sweeps the guy that sweeps in front of the gate. You got to get through him before you get to the gatekeeper.
I agree. So there's no what's next for Rosado. It's just who's trying to shine. What youngin wants to put another name on their belt?
Maybe Berlanga. Berlanga is that guy. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe Berlanga. I don't know.
Berlanga.
What's that, Coach?
Berlanga stops him. Berlanga, that power, that you know.
But I mean, but to me, I think that he's at that point where he is just, his bouts are just about the entertainment value, and then if there's a story there, then you can sell the bout. I mean, people are gonna go see a Rosado fight. I don't want to get too much into that. I'm a little concerned about his long-term health. The guy takes a lot of, he has heart and a chin and all that, and those things lead to poor quality of life after boxing and stuff. But all right, so we don't want let's I don't want to spend too much time on this because I don't it's the Benavidez, he stopped Davis, right? So it was a replacement fighter, and then so there was some discrepancy. So what people don't realize is that if it's not a title fight, you have a 1 pound allowance in there. And then so they were saying he came in at 169 overweight. It's no, you can do that. It's just because he's not fighting for a title. It's just that you don't usually see a fighter at this level not fighting for a title in there. But he took advantage of the system, which a lot of fighters do. He did what he was supposed to do. I don't know if it was a keep busy fight. He keeps his name active in there. Obviously, Canelo he's going all the way up to I guess 190 pounds because WBC with their corrupt self, they changed.
Call that a catch weight. Call that a catch weight because cruiser that I understand, cruiser
is 200 pounds. Yeah, exactly. And
okay.
but apparently it's through the WBC, right? But
right. They made up a weight class for him so they wouldn't have to call it a catch weight.
Exactly. Yeah, which is in there. So that's looking like a long shot. But y'all have any kind of thoughts on the fight or anything? Was it so? We start with Rand. We'll let you kick it on. I mean, the casual.
There was nothing new or that we didn't already know coming out of the fight. You know what I'm saying? I think not what stay on topic, what y'all mentioned earlier. I think Canelo just made 168 irrelevant. I think Benavidez needs to move to 175 if he ever is going to get a payday, because he's when the belts become vacant, who is he going to fight and who's going to make a pay-per-view? But to go back to the fight, his style. I think who said that Canelo beats Benavidez? Was it?
I did. I said he does it pretty easily. I think he might stop him.
He's a prodding, straightforward, like a herd almost type fighter to me. That shoots combos. He has no movements. He's on a straight line and he just bullies his fighters. And once he fights somebody that has movement and you can't bully, I think he's going to have problems. I just never seen him fight somebody that he couldn't bully.
That's a good point. Bosston J. I think he frozen again. Let's go. Coach Dave, we can until we get him back in.
So yeah, no. So I enjoyed the fight, man. I'm definitely a fan of Benavidez. I actually agree with both y'all. You know, I do think his style, even though he got those fast hands or whatever, I do think his style is tailor-made for Canelo. Kind of going back to what Randy said. You can walk Canelo down all you want to and try to, but you really better know what to do. When you get there. And,
Yeah.
I think it would be a great fight. I think Benavidez has a better chance of winning much more than Plant did by far.
Oh yeah.
But I think, and for him to be so long, Benavidez closes that distance too much. He really, and that's because he liked to rumble, and bless him for having that heart. But you just don't necessarily want to be a standstill fighter with Canelo, I think, and try to stand there and rumble. So I think Canelo stops him. I think about Canelo moving up, it was kind of to be expected, but I won't say he run, but for whatever reason, man, Benavidez and I think Charlo are the two people, man, that I'm like, dude, go on and knock them off if you Canelo and reign supreme. Or I would love to see Charlo and Benavidez go at it.
Yeah.
Charlo said that. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
I got my internet squared away now. Yeah, Charlo already came out and said, somebody asked him that on one of his Twittergram feeds or whatever. He said there's no need for him to fight Benavidez because he's already rich. So that tells me everything I need to know.
Wait a minute. Was that current or was that? I thought that was like 2 years ago.
No, I think that was pretty recent.
Okay, I saw it too, but I thought
tells me everything I need to know about Charlo.
He said I don't need to fight Benavidez because I'm rich.
The issue,
this guy, him and his brother, I respect Jamel as a fighter. And I don't want to get too far off topic, but these dudes, to me, I'm all set with these dudes. These guys are smacking cameras out, fans, and they show more aggression towards the people in the media than they do towards fighters. I got cut off during the whole Benavidez thing.
We're actually gonna just kind of go out, and it was basically just, did we kind of learn anything from the fight? And
no, we didn't learn anything.
Yeah, man.
Tyrone Davis is Breadman's been doing the interview circuit here. Tyrone Davis is a 160 pounder. He keeps on getting the call to go up there and fight 68 guys. I don't think you need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I understand that, he made a lot of money for taking this fight on short notice, but Benavidez is a guy that pounds on you and pounds on you and pounds on you. And those are the type of beatings that
leave you a different fighter.
Really, really leave you a different fighter. They did the right thing getting in there in the 6th or 7th rounds. I've been telling Dave and you guys that this guy I like him as a fighter. I like his mentality. I think he's really, really taking advantage of the system here. I really think that. I think he's weight bullying, man. I really do think he's kind of weight bullying. I would love to see him go up to 175 and do that to Zurdo or Bivol or Beterbiev or Marcus Brown or Joe Joyce. One of those guys. I would really like to see it. Those guys are going to force him to box. Now, I heard Randy earlier saying that he was kind of a plodding guy who plods forward. I don't think that's an accurate description of him, man. You go back and you watch the Andre Dirrell fight.
I don't see too much head movement from him.
Man, go back and watch that debate. That guy's got a pull. He's got a pull right where he gets in there, squares up, and you try to tee off on him, and he leans back and he hits you with that straight right hand. The kid's got some tools in his tool belt. He don't always pull them out because he don't need to, but they're there. Go back and watch that. Go back and watch some of his fights, man. He's got.
Well, he is. I think you there was a comparison to Hurd, and I think skill wise, I think he's a level up on
way beyond.
Yeah, he's way better than Hurd, but it's just one same weight bully,
Yeah,
and
they
same
both weight bully.
straightforward on the line. That's why I compared them to her.
I mean, Benavidez can fight off the ropes too, man. Go back and watch some of his fights, man. He can fight off the ropes, and he's got the same punch variety off the ropes that he does on the front foot, man.
Well, let's see if he goes to 175, because there's nothing.
Why he goes to 168?
No, I mean he's gonna be.
There's nothing at 168 for him.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not, then he can just take over. Well, I don't know. Like, if it's there, if Canelo's gonna leave, I can't see Canelo. I think it would be a mistake, and I'm not gonna dwell on this point. But to build your body up to like 190, and then to try to break it back down and come back down to 168.
So that pretty much canceled Charlo fight.
No, it doesn't.
If he goes up to 190, he ain't coming. Charlo,
man, he can do whatever he wants, man. With that stuff he taking, he can do whatever the hell he wants, man. Go down. He gonna be a Roy Jones. Okay, like I said, you look at the only other guy that I can think of, high level guy that used to bounce around weight classes like that, was a guy named Sugar Shane Mosley, and Shane Mosley was on that.
There was a guy named Manny Pacquiao.
Well, Manny Pacquiao too never tested positive, and Shane never tested positive either. Shane had to go in front of Congress and swear on a stack of Bibles that he would tell the truth. Then he said he was on that stuff. Pacquiao never tested positive, but Pacquiao was accused of that by Floyd. Shane Mosley was on that stuff, and Shane Mosley was doing this same stuff in his career, bouncing up and down.
It was proven that Shane was on it. I like
he admitted it. He never popped positive.
No, he didn't. Well, I'm saying it was proven because he admitted it, but also there was records of his contact with Conti.
With Conti and the whole Balco thing,
yeah. So I'm saying there was evidence in that sense, but we want to reserve our due time to one of the fights that should help us get a clearer picture of. Well, maybe it will give us an insight into the pound for pound, whatnot, where somebody stands. Maybe clean up the welterweight division a little bit, which is still to me the most talented division. I think 135 or was it lightweight? One of them is in that area is trying to challenge. They've got
that 154.
154 to welterweight.
154 got about 10 people in that division. It ain't nobody going up to super welterweight because of all them dudes. But go ahead.
Like welterweight could at one point was claiming about 4 people in the top 10 pound for pound.
Well, I disagree with that, but I don't want to derail you. We can circle back to that.
Pacquiao was in the pound for pound, right? And then Crawford.
What? Yeah.
Right. And then Spence.
I mean, I could probably pick 4 dudes out there 154 that would beat Spence.
Ooh. We're not gonna go there. Like,
yeah, all right. We don't have to go there right now. But there's a reason why Errol Spence is killing himself to make 147. I don't think he want nothing with them dudes. There are about 10 dudes up there that are problems. Yeah, that's a problem.
The guy is 5'8", man. Come on, it's like give him something.
I mean, Canelo 5'7", right? He about to fight in cruiserweight, right?
He big bone and he like his beef. As they say, what's that?
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail your train of thought there.
But yeah, so we have Terrence Crawford, who was my pound for pound number 1. I just can't deny the body work that Canelo is, but he still is up there for me. He's got to be, to me, and everybody's at least top 3, pound for pound. And he is fighting with somebody, what some may argue is his toughest opponent to date in Sean Porter. This is for a welterweight title. Terrence Crawford has a title, which came from Pacquiao, went to Horn, with him. It's kind of one of the WBAs. They kind of, when they want to make a little sanction money, they kind of put that belt together. But this fight does have implications. I want to throw it to Randy because Randy has a bone to pick with Terrence Crawford for some reason. I think he said this fight would never happen. So
I mean, if you would have left it to them, it wouldn't have happened. Crawford didn't want it. I mean, yeah, Crawford didn't want it. But the news coming out, man. Both fighters are getting tested up in a training camp. Tank Davis was supposed to give Porter some business the other day. You know what I'm saying? And then they were saying that, nah, it was the weight difference. And then they were like, nah, both of them, they said Tank came in the ring at 154 and Porter came in at 152.
Yeah.
And Tank gave him the business. And then there was some guy named Brian something that gave Crawford the business in sparring.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
So training camp's been a little interesting, but that's just training camp.
Yeah.
As for the fight, man, I think Crawford's gonna win, but I'm probably the only one that's not a fan, and I'm not a fan based off of his resume. I mean, he looks good. He does look good, but his resume doesn't stand strong enough for me to put him in the pound for pound anything. Yeah, yes, he was unified, undisputed at 140, but so is Smith, right? And then we said it last time we talked. Jarod was like
Josh Taylor.
I mean, yeah, Josh Taylor.
Smith, I was like, yeah.
And then when we talked last time about it, even Jarod was like, Josh Taylor's route to get unified was way harder than Crawford.
It was more impressive. It was more impressive.
But y'all still give Crawford like a pound for pound pass for his. So
you can only fight
who's
in front of you.
His best fight today was a 2 weight class lighter Gamboa. So
no, I don't know. I mean, like, I think you don't give him credit for like Victor Postal. Yeah, I mean that was like Postal only had one loss at the time, or was he under? Like he was like Postal is a very
Postal was undefeated.
Yeah, he was undefeated. I'm sorry, he was
and just stopped Matisse.
Exactly. So I mean, but go ahead, Randy.
So that's y'all. So all right, even with that, y'all crowning this dude number 1 and number 2 in boxing.
I said three.
Not me. I don't do pound for pound.
Those pounds.
No, these dudes don't fight each other enough to be doing pound for pound.
So I mean, I'm impressed that he's coming to the PBC fight side and they're starting to get their fights in. But there's definitely gonna have to be this next fight. When he beats when he beats Porter, now he's in the mix of those 147s to me. Like I still put Thurman in there because Thurman only lost once. He's been inactive, but he's still only lost once.
Man, Thurman don't want to fight. Thurman don't want to fight.
Who is Keith Thurman?
Thurman don't want to fight, man.
And then you still got Ugas, who's a champion.
Ugas,
you know what I'm
saying? Let's talk about.
I think I like talking about fighters.
But I just don't want. I just didn't want to say Spence's name out front because I still don't know if he's 100% Spence before the accident.
Really?
I still don't think he's.
The nigga was smacking Danny Garcia around. I mean, I think Danny Garcia is. Even though I never liked him, he might be one of the most underrated fighters that we've seen.
No. And if he goes to 154, he's going to get mopped. And he's trying to go to 154.
Yeah, because it's some killers out there. Like who doesn't get mopped at 154 for one point? Like name one person that you feel.
That's a tough road to hold
that you feel confident that's going to go to 154.
So yeah, that's my prediction of the fight. I think Crawford wins, but
win how? Tell me how.
I think it's going to go to distance. I don't think he knocks it.
Distance. All right. Bosston Jarod.
I'll let Dave go.
So I think any fighter out there is going to be hesitant and have some problems with Sean Porter. That's just because of Porter is Porter, man. I mean, that guy coming to fight. He's sharpened up his boxing skills.
He has.
Now, so in all honesty, and I'm a big Crawford fan. I'm a big Crawford fan. I just see so many kind of, in terms of punch style. Biggest thing I've always been afraid about with Crawford is, man, when he doing his work and he getting busy, he's wide. He's a wide swinger, man.
He does. Yeah.
I worried he was fighting somebody that had more straight punches that could come straight down the pipe, I would be a little bit more worried. But since Porter and all those muscles is so wide too, to be honest with you, it could be an issue of who get caught first in this fight. I'm telling you, it could be an issue who get fought in the clinch. Over all those skill set, I mean, man, look, come on, Crawford goes both ways. Hey, he can box you, orthodox or southpaw. That boy got some serious lateral movement. You know what I mean? Serious lateral movement. And the thing that I think people are sleeping on, because he might look scrawny and wiry, I think people are sleeping on Crawford's strength and how hard that joker hit, man. I think
that's what I think.
And I think I think in particular that body attack. So if I had to honestly, man, give it a prediction, because I just been a Crawford fan since he came on the scene, man. I think if Crawford can straighten up those punches, I think he sneaks and catches Sean Porter maybe a little later in the round, as Porter can kind of lose a little focus, man, and Porter tend to drop that daggone right hand and get caught with a left. Broner dropped him with a left. Earl Spence, it wasn't even a straight left that Earl dropped him with. It was more so of a left hook.
Yeah, that's right.
So I worry about I worry about Porter in that sense, but I think Crawford might actually stop him a little bit later in the rounds, man. And honestly, if the fight ends early for either one of them, it could be. I don't think they're gonna be running from each other. I don't think there's gonna be no feeling each other out. If it ends early, like from 5 down, I think that fight could go either way, because both of them are wild swinging jokers in the clinch. So I'm saying from 5 down, that thing could go any way. It's just who get caught first. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Who get caught and who can stand. So from 6 on, I give it about maybe 10, maybe round 10 or so. I think Crawford might stop Porter. So here straight. 10th round, Crawford possibly stops Porter. If any one of those jokers get knocked out in between 1 and 5, I'm saying how it's gonna look is somebody just gonna get caught, because on the inside, because they some wild swinging jokers, man.
Yeah. So it's funny, man. I'm glad you brought that up, because it's right. There's so many different nuances in there, and it's like with Crawford, you can have somebody who is a very skilled fighter, but has these kind of technical flaws, right, that is in there, right? And those things they're not mutually exclusive, because he proves that, right? So like a Floyd is somebody who has both of those, right? Who's supremely skilled and just like kind of technically almost kind of like flawless in there. And that's what Crawford always, to me, that's what it's been, is like but it makes him a little bit exciting, because you see his skill, the way that he switched and he does that, but he does get wide with some of his punches. And then I think that from the left, it's funny, he has more power, I think, because of his right hook, which a lot of people don't see, but his defense is not as good from the left, which is it always, like, if your more natural stance is kind of from there. But I think technically he's better from his right, but he just doesn't necessarily produce as much power in that stance. I'm gonna go out on not necessarily on a limb, but I'm gonna say that he's gonna go for a stoppage. I think that he is gonna get it. I think he's gonna try to make a statement. I'm gonna look for something coming from up under. But I think he can get caught, though. I think that he's gonna have a rough spot or two in the fight. Shaw's gonna come in there, he's gonna headbutt him and then catch him with a left hook after the headbutt. So He's gonna have one of those type of like things in there, you know what I'm saying?
He better not try that. He better not try that shit. Jeff Horn, whose last fight was at 160 or 168 or whatever, found out the hard way. You try all that wrestling and shit with a Nebraska high school wrestler, dude. You know.
Yeah.
Hell no. Crawford's gonna grab that motherfucker, turn and chuck that motherfucker right into the ropes to the corner.
And that's that skill, right? So that's where his technique is like far, but that's that skill, because right there, that just sounds like some physicality, but no, like he does have to be, he is stronger than they made a great, for me, I think that's what people don't understand, how strong this guy is and how mean he is too. But like for him, what he did to Horn, like to be able to like pivot, use that, you know what I'm saying, that leverage, that body weight, swing somebody in there, and at the same time catch him with a punch. Like when you're doing that and your body's getting swing, and all of a sudden, bow, something thump you on the head, bro, you are so disoriented. You don't know where you at. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, next thing you know, bow, bow, something else coming. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when you looking up at, you know, at the lights in there.
By the time we get around round 5, round 6. Kenny Porter gonna have his hand on that towel. It's gonna be I'm not saying it's gonna come in around there. Sean is just not a very accurate puncher. And if he were fighting an accurate
and he's not clean. He's not clean.
You know, I always thought the guy, the light-skinned guy with the ponytail, what was his name? He fought Manny Pacquiao.
It was something like I think it was like Heath Furman. Heath Furman.
Oh, that guy. I always thought that guy was going to be the litmus test for a guy like Crawford up at 147. I never thought stylistically a guy like Errol was going to bother him, or a guy like Danny. I didn't think any of those guys. I always thought Keith was going to be the stiffest test. I would have picked him to stop Keith, but I always thought Keith was going to be the stiffest test. Keith is no longer part of the equation. Sean Porter is not bigger or stronger than Sean Porter. He's not going to be able to muscle him. He's not going to be able to outbox Crawford from the outside. So what's left? It's just you getting punched in the face. That's all it's going to be, him getting punched in the face. And there's a few fights left out there for Sean. I don't see him and his pops hanging around in there. You said what?
Yeah. I see Sean maybe moving up, maybe trying to make a splash.
He'll become a gatekeeper.
Man. There's Virgil Ortiz. There's a Virgil Ortiz fight. I don't think he want any parts of Boots, but there's a Virgil. I think
he already said he won't fight Ennis.
Yeah.
No. I'm gonna tell you who don't want to fight Ennis. Furman. What's
what's
his name? I can't.
He's gonna want $40 million to get in there with Boots. But
Steve Curlin, something, man. I can't remember his name. Yeah, no, something, man. I can't remember.
No, it wasn't. That's not
somebody, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, what's it called? Crawford gonna make an example out of this cat, man. Crawford's gonna beat the hell out of Sean Porter. And it's not gonna be anything Sean Porter.
I think he's gonna try to make a statement in there. But like Sean is gonna be ready for this fight, man. You know, Sean is always in shape. Like he's gonna have watch for a couple of rough moments. You know what I'm saying?
Sean is a very good running back.
That they talked about, like I'm telling you, he's gonna headbutt him and then catch him with his eyes closed with it like a forearm that looked like a punch.
Let me say, I'm pulling for Crawford. But I got to disagree with Jarod though, because I don't think it's going to be as easy as you're making it out. And I say that because, to be in all honesty, the majority of the boxing world absolutely thought that Sean Porter was just a swole up, aggressive street fighter, and he gave Earl Spence hell. I don't care what nobody say.
No,
he gave Earl hell. And
he might have given him his toughest fight. I mean, but maybe besides Kell Brook, he might have given him his toughest fight.
I think he gave to me, my opinion, He gave Earl Spence hell. It was his toughest fight. And on top of that, it was one of the fights to where we saw a development of a boxing. That his jab was getting him on the inside. His little short, nubby ass jab was getting him on the inside. So I don't know how his skill set in terms of the boxing may have improved. That's why I'm saying, I don't think it's just going to be a walkover for Crawford, But that 1 through 5, man, I'm telling you, can go. Those rounds can go either damn way, man.
But Dave, Spence didn't have to fight him like that. Spence made that fight a lot more difficult than it had to be. Don't you think, Dave? He went in there and
Spence went in trying to show that he was going to go on the inside.
He was going to outdog the dog. He didn't have to fight him that way.
So to my point, though. So listen, to my point, how else are you going to? So to make a statement against Sean Porter or to make a statement against any fighter, you want to try to go and do what you think that fighter can do. You think that Spence can't brawl and bang with Sean Porter. Spence went to go and do it. So you're right. So I agree. So to say that Crawford wants to make a point, then he's gonna have to get in that thing and commit, take those same chances that fucking Earl did.
But that's not what he did with Horn, though.
Well, Crawford has better feet than Spence. So part of it is like capacity to do that. But Spence is good. But Spence has heavy feet, right? You know what I'm saying? He's very solid to do that. But he's not Lomachenko. He's not going to out pivot you and do other things like that.
So what's your prediction then, Jarod? Because you make it seem like this joker just gonna walk straight through Porter, man.
He's going to
dominate. Now, I will tell you something. If he doesn't, I would really have to look hard at. You either have to.
Come on, you're not giving Porter credit.
I can't agree with that, Jarod. Nah, man, you're not giving Sean Porter. That motherfucker's a pit bull, man.
He is. He's very aggressive. He's very tenacious and all that.
And Dave, I'll throw it to you. But what I want to say is I was the person who made the false assumption that this was just a very crude fighter, because if you look from afar and you look at Sean Porter, he just looks, just like the Tasmanian devil trying to do stuff. But there is actually a kind of method to their madness. And Dave brought up a good point. He's a better boxer than we get credit for, than he gets credit for, because it just doesn't look that good. Just how Terrence Crawford is a lot stronger and meaner than a lot of people kind of realize, because he doesn't fit that kind of that physical, size that you're looking at. I think Sean Porter doesn't get, and I've finally had to give credit to his boxing acumen, and other things like that. And I think that that will get him, make this fight competitive, for, I would say, about 8 rounds. But I think that once somebody's class, it starts to really show around those late rounds, right? You know what I'm saying? When things are, and do that. So, and I think that, and this to me really not speaks to, my lack of respect for Sean, but just what I feel that Terrence Crawford is able to do, and what I think he's going to be, what he's going to try to do in this fight right now to kind of make a statement.
Sean's inability to make Terrence miss is what's going to be his undoing. I think the ref steps in around round 9 and says, "Hey, son, you've had enough. That's it. Too many clean, hard punches. That's enough." Sean finished the fight on his feet. I say Sean finishes the fight.
I can see that.
Too many clean, hard punches. Sean
he's going to be in
Terrence is a very, very accurate, hard puncher.
Yeah.
Accurate, hard puncher. Sean Porter is not known for his defense. Too many clean, hard shots. The ref steps in around round 9, says you've had enough.
So Bosston Jarod, so let's do that. All right, go ahead, Coach. You want to end this one?
Yeah. Let me end it. One last thing to Jared's point. So I still say Crawford gonna stop him in 10, but to Jared's point and to your point. So Jarod, if we come out in this fight, if Crawford is turning a lot of punches underneath, it could be an early night because you got a shorter fighter who's already bending down and bobbing.
Yeah.
So try to stand him up. If Crawford throwing that wide hook shit and even some straight stuff, and to a fighter that's bending down, it's gonna be Crawford.
It's gonna be a long night. Yeah.
If he's on that body and
He's doing this
underneath, coming underneath, then I would say absolutely they trying to get this man up out of there because it's gonna be something underneath that
especially out of that southpaw stance because Porter.
That uppercut he got is enough. That lead uppercut, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. That is a beautiful right there. Like Floyd.
That's what he got Benavidez with.
Floyd threw that against Zab Judah or whatnot. It was like a little but you know, Floyd was he wasn't that good from his left. Well, he could do it, but like Crawford is, you know, way better. But let's use this as a segue because hold
on. So last point. So if Crawford wins majority decision, what are y'all gonna say then?
He won.
I'm
saying,
he won, and he's still top 3 pound for pound.
Nah, I ain't gonna say no pound for pound stuff. But.
Yeah.
What I would say is that I'd be surprised, and then I would say that Sean Porter really showed something in that fight, but I wouldn't be upset because I think it might open up to some people thinking that they could test TC and them come tests. You know what, they get put their ass, but
yeah.
So we actually have
Spence already said he was gonna be at the fight, so I think Spence whoever wins, Spence gonna go in the ring and be like, "Yo, that's the next fight."
All right. So
I don't know. This is an ESPN event. I don't know if this is not a co-promotion. This is an ESPN event. I don't see Errol Spence jumping in the ring with an ESPN banner in the middle of it.
Nah,
so.
he not.
Oh yeah, I'll be surprised if he's even there. Honestly.
Yeah,
I think he already.
They're gonna try to act like they didn't even. They're gonna be like, oh, it was a fight this weekend. Like they're gonna pull some.
I think he already stated that he was like, I will be at the fight.
Oh, he did.
I want to see. Yeah, and
I stand correct.
That fight.
I stand correct. Hey, I would love to see that. Now that's
Rick eye patch on.
Exactly. Like I thought you was injured. All right, so we actually got a few minutes, but let's just do this. All right, we got a little time allowed. So let's talk about best current father-son duo. We got Haney, we got Loma, we got T.O., and we got Porter. I'm not going to get my answer out there, but Randy, let's just start with you. Let's keep you on there. Just kind of think about that best father-son current duo right now.
I give it to Loma, even though he took that L, or he took 2 L's. I think he'll, if they do a rematch, I think he'll win. So I give it to Loma.
Bosston?
Yeah, I got Loma.
Coach Dave?
Be honest with you, man. I just think they're all great, bro. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, if you got a fighter that's a champion, I mean, you can go by who got the best record or whatever, but honestly, dude, I like them all, man. And I think every last one of them you name champions.
What I mean, Porter technically is not a champion.
Well, he had a though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. They've all held a belt. I think Haney. I don't really.
Loma ain't got no belt either.
Well, yeah, and to me, Haney, to me, he hasn't really earned a belt. But
Haney's got a belt. Haney's got a belt. Come on, don't do that.
No, I didn't say that. I said
because then Charlo don't have no belt.
I said he hasn't earned a belt. I didn't say he didn't have a belt. I say he hasn't eurned a belt. But to me, I'm really surprised. Like I think it's T.O. Like he beat the guy. He beat Loma. We saw that, right? This guy is undefeated. He is not he's undisputed, but he's not the 4 belt. There's something in there, but there's really no other champion at that weight class. I'm surprised that Teo doesn't get this nod.
Nah, Loma, man. Loma's the more polished dude. He
beat him.
He's a 3 division.
I saw him smack him against around the ring.
Lomo
I don't know about
Like,
all
y'all didn't
that,
see
though.
that?
I don't know if all that happened.
Lomo
Let
getting
me
He
tell
didn't
you
make them
something.
dance. Like he didn't make them
Loma,
dance.
Nah, let me tell you something. Loma did to Rigo what T.O. should have done to Loma, but he's not good enough to do that.
Oh no, come on.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
there was no way that he was gonna do that to Loma now.
Yeah,
Why, Loma's a little guy. Loma can be fighting at 126 right now. He's fighting dudes way bigger than him. Go ahead, Dave.
You taking away from Theo's ass whooping he put on Lomo. And
That's what I'm saying, bro. He was laying some wood on Loma, bro.
He whooped Lomo's ass. You get in that ring, damn all this, could be this size. You get in that ring, damn it, you take.
Randy, I was over your house when we watched that fight, and we were just damn.
Yeah, we were like, damn. But you know what I'm saying? I honestly think that if they do,
and this is like one of the greatest defensive boxers that we've seen.
And if I was
I don't know about all that.
Never sign for a rematch.
Not defensive.
If it happened.
Not defensive fighter. He's a good offensive guy, but he's not. His defense is his offense and all them angles he put in. I wouldn't say that he got his ass whooped. I say he lost. I definitely had to fight.
Yeah, he lost.
But I would love to see that rematch though.
It ain't never going to happen, and I agree with it not happening.
I would love to see that rematch.
On the politics side, I was like, oh, you want to be y'all want it to be funny and not put a rematch clause in there? That's what
but in closing, so a guy who is undefeated, who was undisputed, and beat the guy who y'all think is
he's not undisputed. He's not undisputed. He's not undisputed. He's not undisputed. But
hold on, but
turn this into a 2-hour-long show.
I know. I mean, it's not technically, so when you saying when Teofimo fought Lomachenko, that they were not fighting for all the belts in their division?
No, because Lomachenko didn't fight Devin Haney. Why
are you bringing up Devin Haney?
Devin Haney's got Loma's belt, just like Jamal Charlo.
How did he get the belt? How did he?
He got franchised.
Exactly. And that is laughing.
That's not Devin.
That is not boxing. That is not fighting. And that's what I'm saying. So he is not a champion. Don't talk to me about no Teofimo and Loma and then bring in Devin Haney.
I'm just saying Devin Haney got his belt. And Canelo Alvarez told Teofimo he wasn't undisputed that Devin had his belt.
He sure did tell him.
It is. All right, but let me give you an example. So when you saw what happened when Devin Haney and Teofimo when they was talking, and Devin Haney was and then what did he say? Man, I got more followers than you.
Man, okay, that's
two little kids. That's all you need to know about Devin Haney.
Oh man, what? Let me tell you this.
That's all you need to know about. Him and Ryan Garcia can argue about followers. I'm gonna go watch real fighters who fight real fights. That's why I recognize the person that won the fight between Teofimo and Lomachenko as the undisputed champion. But
Devin Haney working on his second fight.
Jared, you are right. But at the same time, I'm just surprised that y'all do not give Teofimo his props as being the best father-son duo.
Hell no, man. Teofimo, Loma beat Rigo, Gary Russell, and who else he beat?
I mean, I saw Teofimo with a one-punch knockout, stop your boy Comey,
yeah, that was a good win. That was a very good win. That was a very, very good win. That was a good win. I rated Comey too. I rated Comey. That was
exactly. I did too. Yeah. Well, all right, fellas.
Yeah, he manhandled Nakatani, who your boy T.O. struggled with. He beat the dog shit out of Nakatani.
Yeah, he did. He came back with that one, but he gonna have to I was happy to see that.
And he destroyed Nick Walters too, who beat up Donaire.
Don't even bring Nick Walters. He actually retired Nick Walters. That was
Nick Walters almost retired Donaire. I can't believe I give props to Donaire coming back. Nick Walters took his head off, man. Don't sleep on it.
Dude feel like this. Anytime you see a fighter who's standing up like this and they fall like this on their face, it's scary. You don't want to see that.
Yeah, T.O. getting ready to fight next weekend, isn't he? Or 2 weekends from now, finally, the fight that has never been fought.
Don't hold your breath on
drawn out fight ever in the history of fights. He finally gonna fight on the 27th.
If it wasn't for your boy Andrade, I would say it's one of the most like mismanaged kind of things in recent history. But Andrade is he just over everybody.
Demetrius
is just like, oh my.
Yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough.
But fellas, I like this. You know, we want to kind of go give a shout out there. Like, well, I'm saying Coach Dave and everything, and saying definitely for the Founders Day, we got Bosston J, Casual Rand, Professor Nims. We're gonna send this out. This is gonna be our first show and everything. It's not gonna be all nice and produced up, but y'all didn't come here for that. Y'all came for our opinions and our little expertise, a little bit of comedy and everything in between. All right, man. We got any closing words before we wrap up? Pop talk. One thing I want to say with Pop Talk, everybody knows about that song that Prince had. It was like Pop Life or whatnot. But with us, we say Pop Talk, where everybody has an opinion. But like as Roger Mayweather says, most of y'all don't know shit about boxing. So when y'all want to come to learn, y'all come to Pop Talk or whatnot. All right, man. All right, man. Peace out, man. We gonna sign out.
Yeah.